Hi, my name is Joanne. In this video, I will take you through my website and discuss the innovation topic of microprocessors. To start, I'll talk about how I created the website. It is programmed in HTML and CSS. The web server that hosts my site is cPanel. For the home page, I used an internal style sheet, and for the other pages, I used an external style sheet. All the page files along with the images I used are located in the public HTML folder, which allows it to appear on my website domain. For the logo, I looked at a lot of images on the internet for inspiration. I started with a very simple black and white stock image of just the microprocessor, which I imported to Photoshop. Then I erased the right side and the top dashes and colored the shape blue. And in another layer, I added the impact of and the word microprocessor, and after playing with a few different placements and fonts, I settled on this positioning. Then I colored a few of the letters the same color. Lastly, I merged all the layers so the file consisted of one flattened image, and then I saved it as a PNG in order to keep the transparency. And for the banner, I also used a stock photo for the background, which I erased partially and also altered the colors, and then I added the logo file onto another layer and arranged it accordingly. And for the animation, I used an online GIF generator where I uploaded the logo, banner, and profile picture. I made sure to put all of these files into the public HTML folder so that it would link properly and be visible on my website. Through this project, I intend to demonstrate how the innovation of microprocessors have impacted modern society and how we use them every day to travel, learn, communicate, and even cook. Down here in the table of contents are the links to the other pages of my site where I answer the questions regarding my innovation topic. At the bottom it says the current date, which is incorporated through JavaScript code. In the purpose page, I answer the first question, which is indicate the name of the innovation and provide a clear description of its intended purpose, such as the problem that the innovation solved, the opportunity that the innovation created, or the discovery that the innovation made possible. A microprocessor is an integrated circuit that contains all the functions of a central processing unit of a computer. It can also be described as the heart of a computer. Since its invention in the late 1960s, the innovation of microprocessors has revolutionized human civilization. Prior to the microprocessor, computers were much larger and non-portable. The invention of integrated circuits in the 1950s led to the development of microprocessors. Originally created for the purpose of making a desk calculator, the Intel 4004 is considered the first single-chip microprocessor. It was introduced in 1971 and could only add and subtract 4 bits at a time. It caused the influx of the first mass-produced personal computers in the 1980s. Now we use them constantly in our daily lives, most of the time without even knowing it. They live in many household and electronic devices such as TVs, blenders, electric tea kettles, refrigerators, smartphones, and stereos, just to name a few. Microprocessors have become the defining factor of modern society. On to the second page, which is effects and impacts. I talk about the benefits as well as the harmful effects of the innovation. The innovation of microprocessors have had many obvious benefits. One of the major benefits include the rise of convenience. Because of microprocessors, technology continually grows faster and more compact. It allows us to save time with smaller, portable, and more accessible gadgets. Smartphones and computers have become a necessity to many people in the world, allowing them to communicate and form relationships with each other. However, these same advantages can be seen as disadvantages as well. Life has grown more fast-paced, and it's continuing to do so with the rise of technology. Some argue that the generations born after the internet age are quote-unquote disconnected due to spending so much time in the virtual world. Eventually, all of these advancements in technology will lead to automation. Many jobs and careers will be affected by this, including ones which are in high demand currently. According to a 2013 study, almost 50% of all jobs in the U.S. could potentially be automated within the next few decades. Doctors, lawyers, pharmacists, Cashiers, truck drivers, and airplane pilots will be replaced by computers that will do the job quicker and make less mistakes. Through machine learning, computers learn and process data much faster than human brains. This will likely cause economic distress for many countries. The video below predicts and elaborates on the consequences of rapidly growing technology and automation on human civilization. Explain the impact that the innovation has had on society, economy, and/or culture. In regards to economy, smartphones and computers have dramatically increased our ability to collaborate and communicate with each other. We use tools such as video conferencing, online messaging, and social media platforms. In 2012, it was estimated that there were 500,000 jobs created as a result of the app economy. And according to a 2017 study, 1 out of 3 Americans work freelance jobs. A respondent in that study stated, "There are more avenues available to find work, to make contacts, to connect with others, etc., thanks to technology and its ability to network." In regards to society and culture, microprocessors led to the invention of smartphones and portable computers, which in turn led to the rise of internet culture. Essentially, online communities such as Reddit or social media platforms like Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, personal blogs, and even internet memes would not exist if not for microprocessors. In today's information age, many people form relationships and find work and internships online. For the last question, I talk about one field other than computer science that microprocessors have impacted. A notable field that microprocessors impact and will continue to impact is education. In my own personal experience, the middle school and the high school that I went to had e-boards and projectors in almost every classroom. Nowadays, many schools and university libraries offer computers and laptops for their students to use. Computers have allowed people to learn online, often at their own pace and schedule. There are also online universities and websites that offer in-depth instruction on virtually any subject. Students can easily find PDFs of textbooks and articles online for their research projects. YouTube has grown into an extensive library of video tutorials, lectures, and podcasts. Companies like Audible allow people to read wherever they are, even while commuting to and from work or school. Just this class in general is the perfect example for how computers have influenced education. The graph on the left is a study from the Pew Research Center on the evolution of technology adoption and usage of U.S. adults. In this video, I interviewed my friend who's also a student here at the university. To make this video, I recorded it on my phone and then I airdropped the video clips onto my computer where I imported them into iMovie, and then I added transitions, a title slide, and some text for the subtitle near the end. And then I drew a very simple frame-by-frame animation using Photoshop. Then I uploaded it to YouTube.
I'm not well versed in computer science, but I'm a student, so I have a laptop that I use every day, which is portable, bring to school. Smartphone, use that every day.
On this page, I talk about the technical aspects of the innovation. Prompt E is describe how a user interacts with the innovation. An interesting aspect of this innovation is that most people aren't aware of their interaction with it or of its existence at all. And this is probably due to the fact that microprocessors are inside of machines and not visible from the exterior. For example, in a survey I conducted using Google Forms, most respondents had not heard of microprocessors prior to taking the survey, despite using devices that contain microprocessors to take the survey. Describe in detail how the innovation's technology incorporates at least one of the big ideas of abstraction, algorithms, programming, and/or the internet to accomplish its purpose. Microprocessors incorporate the big idea of programming to accomplish its purpose. They have a set of instructions to perform, which is implemented as bit patterns. Bit patterns are represented by a set of short words called the assembly language. This is a low-level programming language that is native to the microprocessor. We use assembly language because it's easier to memorize. Then, an assembler translates the assembly language into bit patterns for the microprocessor to execute. For instance, a programmer might create assembly language where load A MEM means to load register A from memory address, or jump ADDR means to jump to an address. The image below shows an example of assembly language. On this page, I discuss the innovation's relationship to data. Describe how the innovation consumes data as input, produces data as output, and/or transforms data. Microprocessors transfer data in three main ways: programmed I/O, interrupt I/O, and direct memory access, also known as DMA. These are three techniques that are used to exchange info from the user to the CPU. In using programmed I/O, the microprocessor runs a program to execute all data transfers between the microcomputer and the external device. In other words, the microprocessor controls all transfers completely. For interrupt I/O, an external device can cause the microprocessor to stop performing the current program momentarily in order to execute another program known as interrupt service routine. Afterwards, the microprocessor returns to executing the program prior to the interrupt. And lastly, DMA allows data to be sent directly from an external device to the memory on the computer's motherboard. This method of transfer is quicker because the microprocessor isn't involved in the operation. Very recently, there have been data security concerns regarding microprocessors. According to a New York Times article titled "Researchers Discover Two Major Flaws in the World's Computers," which was published in January of 2018, there are two major flaws in microprocessors that are in most of the computers in the world. The two hardware vulnerabilities are called Spectre and Meltdown, and they affect computers with Intel x86 microprocessors, IBM Power processors, and some ARM-based microprocessors. Nearly all the computers in the world use those. These security breaches could potentially allow hackers to steal the entire memory contents of computers and smartphones, even servers running on cloud networks. It can also allow hackers to obtain the private information of individuals, such as passwords, credit card, and banking numbers. According to Paul Kosher, who is the president and chief scientist at Cryptography Research, whereas Meltdown is an urgent crisis, Spectre affects virtually all fast microprocessors and is a fundamental issue with how processors have always been designed. And Intel plans to release new and improved microprocessors later this year. This is the last page of my website. It's the reference page, and the source that I used the most is, I'd say, the first one. It's a 9-page article on howstuffworks.com. For more information, you can visit my website down at the URL below. And thank you for watching.